Hey,
Hi.
Margie.
How are you, Michelle?
I'm good. So excited to chat with you. I just had my
Yes,
parent
I'm
teacher
here.
conference. And
Oh,
so,
okay.
as a teacher of 12 years, Margie, I thought you're the perfect person to chat with to relieve some of my angst and just worry about this. Does that sound good?
Absolutely. Yes, of course. I'm here to help.
Awesome. So I had my conference with my teacher's 5 year old or my 5 year old. And, the teacher said she is behind in reading, but the other part is she is a little bit shy. So she won't even like talk to the teachers. So the teachers are like, we don't know if she knows it and is just shy or if she just won't like say what she knows because she comes home with us to read and she's doing very well. Right. And so in my mom brain, I start going through, I'm a failure. I'm not doing enough. Oh my goodness, my child's going to be behind and there's all this stress on me. So I just wanted to ask you today, one from a mental health perspective, like how should parents take these conferences? What's your inside scoop as a teacher? Do you give everyone the A+, your kid's doing great, or do you try to err on the side of like, let's work on this? I would love your insight.
Of course. So, first of all, as a parent, us as teachers, we know that you're doing your best with the resources and that you have, and we know that it's hard to balance it all as far as with your work schedule and your child. So, as a teacher, we always try to remind parents that you're not alone. That we are also doing our best at school with the resources that we have been given. Sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes it's just enough. It just depends on the needs of the child. So first of all, you're doing a great job with what you know and what you can with your resources and balancing it all as a parent. So and second of all, I would suggest to, as far as a mental health is concerned, just remember, keep in mind that again, you're not alone. That we are working as a team. Everyone that is involved in your child education has their best interest at heart, and we're a team, so we work together. And also to remember that progress is more important than perfection.
Yeah.
So your child might start at point A today, and maybe they need to get to point Z, but let's start at point A and go little by little and get to point B and then point C, etc.
That's awesome.
Due to the pandemic, it is very common for children to have gaps in learning.
Mm.
Very, very common because of the shift in education.
Mhm.
So we all had to pivot, we all had to shift, including teachers, including children as well. And it affected them, it
Yeah.
affected everyone.
Yeah.
And so it is very common for children now, a couple of years after the pandemic, to have these gaps. And what teachers need to do at this point, and tutors and anyone that's involved in your child's education, is just identify those gaps
Mm.
and fill them as best as we can with the resources that we have. So the good thing is that now we're shifting over into thinking about those gaps and what is the best way for children to learn at this
Mhm.
time with the shift
Yeah.
in education and the way that we're teaching. So you're not alone. We know as teachers and as educators that you're doing your best
Awesome.
with what you have and with the balancing and all that. And you can count on us because we have your child's best interest at heart. And yeah, progress. That's what we look
Yeah.
for, not perfection.
Awesome.
Progress.
So when we talk
Okay.
about progress, that's my next question. I have three girls, so my fourth grader obviously takes precedence because her homework is pages long. My
Yes.
second grader, innately smart, she gets it, but I still want to work with her so she doesn't feel left out. And then my little one needs the most help. So when you talk about progress, is it that when we get that teacher feedback that there's some work that needs to be done, do we automatically launch into after school? We need to do more. We need to do more. We need to do more. Do we focus on making it fun, maybe just around like bedtime and reading? Do we partner with a tutor like yourself and get some extra help? I've talked to you about getting tutoring for my daughter. So,
Right.
what is kind of the mindset that's optimal for us to have as we partner moving forward to not put so much pressure on the child, but as a parent, like, okay, here's my strategy.
Right. So we don't want to overwhelm the child just because they have academic gaps. We don't want them to say, okay, you need more, 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 more. It's more about the quality.
Mm,
Like, how can we teach them in a different way, the same skill, the same content, but in a different way where they're understanding it better,
yeah.
where they really master whatever the skill or the content is. So more is not always better. So it all depends. And that's where a tutor comes in, where a tutor and a teacher are different in a way where the teacher did it in a more, or taught the content or the skill in a more standard way, where they have 20 children in the
Oh
classroom,
gosh.
as opposed to a tutor that says,
Mm,
okay, this child learns in this way,
awesome.
this child has these kinds of interests, so let me go ahead and individualize their this lesson or this skill or this content in a way where they can understand it better and really become proficient or master whatever the skill or content is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. It takes the pressure off me because I keep telling myself like I'm not a teacher. I have my degree in business and marketing, but I feel that pressure and I want a great relationship with my child. I don't want to put that pressure. I actually just don't believe in putting that
Right.
pressure on
And
her.
sometimes children shut down when they feel that
Yeah.
pressure, and their self-esteem in decreases. And they say, well, I'm not a good reader, or I'm not really good at math. And we don't want that to
Yeah.
happen to our children. We don't want them to what the education term of it is, learned helplessness.
Mm.
So we don't want that. They become helpless and, oh, well, I'm not a good reader, or I'm not a good um I don't add well,
Yeah.
or I don't get it. We don't want that,
Yeah.
because then they shut down,
Yep.
and then that's when it becomes more difficult. And not only do we have to address the academic gaps, but we also have to address the mental state,
Yeah.
the attitude that they have brought onto
Yeah.
themselves of, I can't do this, or whatever label they have put on
Yeah.
themselves. That's what we want to avoid.
It's good.
So I believe with more work, more pressure, that becomes the learned helplessness, and that's when it becomes, they get stuck, and it
Yeah.
becomes more difficult to get them
Mm.
unstuck.
That's so good. Well, I know I have my daughter signed up with tutoring with you on Saturday mornings, and we're going to
Yes.
just do 20 minutes. She's only 5. I don't think she needs like an intense session. I want to keep it fun, but I do think using someone outside of the family is a good
Mhm.
way to just, her sisters do tutoring, so it just keeps it fun and like not pressureful within our home. So, do you find that doing Zoom tutoring is effective? Is it something that really will work for her?
I believe that Zoom tutoring, it all comes down to the actual strategies that the tutor uses,
Yeah.
um, because they have to keep the child engaged.
Yeah.
We have to remember that the child is in their own environment.
Mhm.
They might not have shoes on. They might have their dog or their siblings around. They might be hearing their mom cooking,
Yeah.
distractions and things that they don't have in a regular classroom
Good
setting.
point.
So keeping the child engaged the entire time is very, very important.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to how their environment
Yeah.
in the home, making sure that there's no
It's good.
distractions, as well as the strategies that the tutor or the teacher uses on Zoom. So just
Awesome.
keeping them engaged, the games, the even a couple of brain breaks here and there, stand up and stretch. What I like to do a lot is scavenger hunts that have to do with the skill that we're doing. So let's say if we're learning the letter G, as I'm going to do with your daughter. Okay, go find, you have 20 seconds to find something in your house that starts with the letter G,
Yep.
something like that. So just keeping them engaged, because it's so different from the classroom setting.
So
So if the
good.
child is able to stay engaged,
Yep.
Zoom tutoring is going to be just like as if they're in their classroom.
I love it. I cannot wait for Saturday. I'm so excited. I messaged you on the platform that she's working on
Yes.
G and her sight words, so we'll have a good strategy. And I just want to thank you, Margie, for decreasing the pressure around parent-teacher conferences.
Of
Everything's
course.
going to be okay, and I love your teacher
Yes, it is.
perspective. All right, I'll see you Saturday.
All right. Thank you so much. Yes.
All
See you
right.
Saturday.
Bye, Margie.
Bye.